And welcome back to the Stranded Season 1 recap podcast. We are talking about Episode 4, A Little Blindsided. As always, it is me, Coach Drew, joined, as always, by Santi to my left.
Hello.
There he is. And creator, main producer, all that jazz. We have Will at the bottom. How are y'all doing?
Now you calling me a bottom.
I said at the bottom. I said at the bottom. How are y'all doing?
I'm well, Coach. I'm well.
Okay. Will?
I'm doing great. We filmed season 2 in 10 days. I am so excited. We got multiple people. Like, it's so crazy how these things grow because, like, we casted a good amount of locals season 1, and now it's like I got multiple people flying in. I got people multiple out of state. Like, I'm like it's like we went from this to like, and so it's just really cool to see how things go. And we're part of the documentary. I just met my documentary team last night, and getting more info about that. And it's going to be a time. That's all I can say.
Do you have anybody flying out from Texas or no? I'm just flying.
I can't reveal who's flying. I'm not revealing nothing.
I missed the question.
I said, does he have anyone flying out from Texas or no? I'm kidding. I don't actually know anything. So we jumping into episode 4. So when last we left off, we had a double boot episode, and only one boot actually went home. We were able to keep John safe through the twist of the season. Santi, because I had to go back. I went back and watched the tribals from last episode. I didn't go back and watch the entire thing. So if this is you and the majority of your tribe votes you, minus one, who we'll talk about Ymir in a second, what are you doing going back to camp, not knowing if it's going to be a swap or not?
I'm gonna avoid your answering that question. I'm gonna just say I really enjoyed how John responded to being targeted and blindsided by his tribe like that, because anyone else, not me, would burn the whole fucking camp down, cut everybody out, bust their moms out, and then immediately jump ship. I would never do something like that, but I can see other people doing things like that, So I really just appreciated how John responded, and he was very calm. And it's like, I understand, like, I get it. It's a game, let's hit the reset button. Let's kind of move forward.
And so for Will, as far as the twist of the season of, we get to pick this before we go out. I know you can't spoil everything that happens going forward, but in this situation, are you hoping for a situation like this where it's large majority? Are you just kind of saying, let's see what happens, or are you hoping, hey, hopefully it's like a 4-3 or something like, or however the votes are? Just I want to make this as exciting as possible. And also, do you know which scroll is in which bottle?
So in regards to the twist, I remember, like, as you kind of see, every challenge is very on theme, right? When you're stranded, something, right? And then when we were talking about message in a bottle, I was like, me and Jack, it was very collaborative. And I was like, well, why don't they, like, message in a bottle can save you, right? Like, we'll just have one of them save it. And it was like, oh shit. And then we hand wrote all the scrolls the night before, and then we just put them in the bottles and we shuffled them. So, like, I truly didn't know that one had it in it. I just knew it was there. And for, like, what we expected with the twist, we didn't know what to expect because it could have gone a million different ways, right? But I was like, it's one world, right? So there's a world where John gets back to camp and immediately goes to Purple and says, guys, they voted me out, so I'm ready to go, right? Like, he could have done that and just, like, big balled it. And it's funny about who it all depends on who it happens to, right? Obviously, I know John Murray personally. If it was going to happen to the most diplomatic person, it had to be John. John is the one that could navigate that the best. I'm not saying other people couldn't, but just knowing him, and then as we saw, he played it perfectly. How many times do you see in Survivor literally voted out pretty much unanimously and gets one vote the next tribal council? Like, that shift was like, we were like, he's probably out again, right? And then as we're like seeing the strategy and tribal come together, and I was at the voting booth, I was like, he pulled this off. Holy shit. Like, I was gagged. And that just shows how strong of a player he is.
It's a testament, and Santi, I'll get to you with this. It's a testament to something that once again, we're going to get to his confessional at the beginning of the episode, but it's a testament to the social aspect of the game, because there are a lot of people that, will go scorched earth. I'm going to burn this camp down because y'all tried to vote me out and I'm still here. I hate phrasing like this because I'm with John in this situation. This is exactly how I would act in the situation. But do you see this being perceived as a punk move by others? Like, oh man, like, I can't believe he's kissing her ass. I can't believe he's not just doing this. How would you, since you can't answer the first part, can you say how you would perceive that someone coming back after you tried to vote them out? Or
I don't think he got a negative perception about it. Like, I didn't see it as him being conniving or anything like that. It was very genuine, and I think that's what worked in his benefit of, like, he understood, like, we're playing a game and these are the moves that had to be made, and everybody else is kind of working around him at the same time. So his non-reaction, I think, benefited him a lot, because like Will said, you see this happen all the time in these games where if somebody's voted out and they come back or they're not eliminated, they're usually a revolving door of, like, they can just go immediately next, because it's kind of easier to do that as a group than it is to do what they did last night. And we'll get to that. But I think it's a great, I would not have perceived it negatively at all.
And I don't, and so let's get into Amir's explanation for why he threw the vote towards Dave's way. Dave? Yeah, Dave. Towards Dave's way. Basically saying, hey, I'm here to, I'm doing risky things just to be risky because I'm a risky type of player. And we talked about this during the pregame draft, where Amir is very much strategic, social. And in this situation, his explanation makes sense. I get why he's saying this, and I get why he did it. And he didn't get voted out this episode, so, like, clearly it worked at least for one round. Will, so I don't know if you're recording this specific confessional or not. What are you doing when you hear this, or when you hear about this, when you hear why Amir did what he did?
I mean, I wasn't surprised because I kind of messaged. I would say Amir and Nathan were the big drivers of this vote. So I kind of I spoke to them earlier today just to kind of get some of their, where they were at. And I think it worked out. I think Amir's a gamer. So everyone with the, like, seeing the bottles and realizing, like, hey, this bottle holds no power. Thanks for playing. Like, everyone kind of clocked that it's probably going to cancel the elimination. You're not going to open it and it's going to be like, you're nice, go home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone knew it was going to be something big, right? And even, like, John V was like, that confessional of him, what he thought it was, like, was way longer. I had to cut it. But he's like, yeah, and it's going to be like an immunity idol and everyone that got votes and they're going to revote. And then I was like, girl. But everyone had an idea of what it was. And I think he just was able to, and this is what I find so interesting, and even though I haven't played a ton of, like, gaming the gamer, of being like, jumping in, like, he basically jumped into my mind and was like, how do I think Will would plan this? And then he's like, I think it's going to be like, you're safe, right? You get into the theming, you understand, like, what we're trying to do here. And I think he just locked in and was like, I'm going to throw a vote because it worked twofold. If it was an idol, and it's like any votes cast against you are now null. Dave goes home with 2 votes, right? And he's like, that's fine. Dave was expendable to him at that point. But then he's like, but if it's not an idol, I just gained some trust. I just gained ally in someone who feels alone. And that's what he said in his confessional. And it was masterful because he knew what that feels like to be alone. And he's like, babe, I'm here. Like, let me not have you feel alone. And then pretty much made John stick to him like glue, because you're grasping at straws. You literally got voted out with an advantage in your pocket. Like, that's wild. Like, they were fine being like, screw this steal a vote. We still want you to go home. Like, that hurts. And that just little tiny move by Amir then got John on his side. And now it's like, we got 2 people. We only need technically 1 to 2 more, you know?
Yeah, the John confessional where he's sitting there. Oh, Amir says, hey, I'm trying to tell people that I voted with everyone else, except for John. I'm telling John, hey, I did this, and hopefully he doesn't throw me under the bus. And John has a confession where he says, hey, I'm not going to throw Amir under the bus unless he tries to screw me over later in the game, which is fine, because later in the game, this vote doesn't matter. This vote really only matters in this round, hoping that a swap happens later. So John saying, hey, I trust Amir because he came to me and I'm not going to throw him under the bus, I think is great. I think it does work for Amir in the situation, because every base was covered, and the fact that he went to Nathan, I believe, and said, hey, was it you? And Nathan's like, shucks, it wasn't me, but now people think that I'm a threat because of this previous game, Mole, Ohio, and all this other stuff. Santi, how are you doing this? If you're Amir in the situation, once again, I'm not trying to dock Santi here, but
no,
if you're a chaos merchant, how are you going about this?
So, I don't know Amir. I'll say that. I've seen Amir play, and what I've seen of Amir play is very messy and very sloppy. And I feel like his move was not thought all the way through, but he stumbled into a beautiful position. I think that he really thought what Will said it was, like, it's an idol and it's going to nullify the votes, and then Dave goes home with 2 votes. But it's kind of weird of why would you save one person that's at the bottom when you're kind of at the bottom as well? It doesn't really like benefit you. But again, it kind of just goes back to how this round reset everyone within that tribe. Like, Nathan was like, now I need to recalibrate how I'm playing this game. Mm-hmm. Amir's now in a better position than he was way before, I think, this round. John's in a good secondary position. Dave is now in the middle. And then you have Alex, who's just kind of there as a number. That's the way I see it.
I mean, I can shed some light on that. So it doesn't come through in the edit too much, based off just what I put in. But everybody trusted Amir on that tribe at this moment. There was not one person. I don't think I have one confessional where anybody was like, yeah, no, I don't really feel good with Amir. I'm not sure. I don't have any of that. Again, it doesn't come through in the edit that everyone like super trusted him. But I think that's what maybe emboldened him to throw that extra vote, because he knew everyone trusted him.
So you did
and it was like, he's like, I can pin this on somebody else.
Okay, well, that makes more sense that we have more context.
Yeah.
And I take it all back.
Oh, God.
Thought out plan. Great job.
Said it as, we have to go based off the edit. We can't. We have to go based off the edit. No, and Nathan's and Santi, you brought this up. Like, Nathan, all of a sudden, everything just kind of changes, just based off of this one hanky vote that had a lot of context for the person that was voting, but in the broad scheme of things, everyone's going to look at that as a hinky vote. It changes everything, because now John's saying, hey, I feel good with these people, and I also feel good with Amir. Let's see if I can get a 4 going together. And as we find out later, that 4 never happens. But I feel good with these, and I feel good with him. I feel good that I just talked to Nathan, and Nathan just told me, hey, we got back to camp and you weren't here, and everyone said they want to vote for you, so I had to do it. All shucks. And John's like, it's all right, bro. Like, we're good. And it feels like it feels like that conversation is genuine in context, whether it's genuine in reality.
I have a question about because about the summit, because they kind of said like what Nathan said to John. He was like, I didn't want to vote you, but you weren't here. Your name got floated. I couldn't do anything. So my question is the summit a hindrance or a help?
Depends on the round.
I think it's a little bit of both in how you play it. The way I observed it is, I know Nathan as a player, and nobody's necessarily going to make Nathan make a move that he doesn't want to make. So I think Nathan definitely was down for the move getting John out, but he framed it in a way to John of like, hey, they made me do this. I didn't want to.
Oh, got it.
That's how I observed it, of like, he spun that real quick, and he did a really, really good job of it.
I would say that it depends on the round. It depends on the round. Like it really does, because like I'm even thinking real Survivor too. It's like I've never been 100% on Shipwheel Island in the new era. Just like I'm not 100% on any live game that has a summit type twist, because it depends on the person going there, depends on the round of the game. I think this round was pretty simple as far as like the people that were there. I felt the conversation was like, okay, yeah, you can kind of see where this is headed, but there are other rounds where it's like, okay, well, I really don't know what's going to happen here. So I would say I like the twist because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's helping Ymir exponentially.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? Which this has been my favorite part of watching the summits and the exchange of information, is that everyone's doubling down on this lie that Ymir didn't even get up to vote, and they all know he got up. They might have said that he whatever, he actually did vote, but like we're now through, I think it's 2 or 3 episodes, I don't remember how many times it's been said, where they're like, no, he didn't even get up. And everyone's like sticking to the story. It's so interesting because it's green subtly sabotaging purple. And it's just a simple thing. No, he didn't even get up. And everyone's like, he didn't get up. And they're like, no. And now it's been confirmed like 2 or 3 times. It's so fun to watch.
It's Inception.
What's funny is that little lie is like adding more to reasons to get rid of Gibble.
Oh, man, we'll talk about Gibble later, but
which I'm sure we'll spend some time there.
Troy, before we let in our boot of the episode, there's one thing I just quickly want to touch on, and this is a personal thing, and Oryx and LRGs do this so much, and it frustrates. It's kind of like Chekhov's gun in movies, where it's like, if anyone doesn't know, Chekhov's gun is a movie trope where something is introduced, and then it's like, okay, well, clearly it's going to have something to do later in the movie. Survivor games, specifically Orgs and LRGs, is the drop your ... and then everyone expects for it to be buffs or whatever, and it's always expectations, and it's like, fuck Jeff Probst from Heroes vs. Villains making that something that has just lived on for 15 years afterwards, because y'all even got me. I was convinced that it was going to be a swap, and it's not.
Coach,
I can go into that. So
wait, hold on, Will. Santi, what?
Yeah. Coach, why are you being a boomer about that? Like, for me, like, drop your expectations, or drop, like, kind of the lead up to it is part of playing the game, because as a player, we are sitting there constantly thinking, when is the swap happening? When is the swap happening? And we're trying to position ourselves. And for the host and production to fuck with me a little bit and like know what I'm anticipating and then be like, that's not what's going to happen. You thought. So yeah, coach, don't dog that. It's a fun little thing.
Like I said, it's just a me personal thing. Like I know that it's probably more well liked than just like Will. What were you gonna say?
So I have some exclusive tea, and I think I might have said this on another podcast. So exclusive. We were supposed to swap that round. We had it planned, and this is the behind the scenes tea of production pivoting. So we had planned after the double that they were going to swap. However, every confessional we got, round 3, I think pretty much every single player was like, well, we're definitely swapping this round. After this, we're swapping after this. I know it is. We're both going to be even. Like everyone was expecting it. And we were just like, we were talking about it. We had a little bit of a lunch break, and it was Jack, and he was like, listen, I know we said we were going to swap here. And I was like, right. And then I had kind of started feeling, and he goes, but it really pisses me off that everyone's expecting it. And I said, I agree. And he goes, so why don't we just not do it? And I was like, honestly, I like that, because people were playing their game as if a swap was coming, and well, I'm going to do this because when we swap, this will happen. And I wanted to be like, you know what? The players want to play us, and so we're going to play it back. And we said, not swapping this round. And they were gooped and gagged because they were like, oh, we thought we knew. And I think that's just a testament to how strong our production team was, that we weren't afraid to pivot and see well, what happens when you have to double down with these people and you can't rely on a twist to save your game? Like, you have to figure it out. And I think it ended up working very well. And you'll see how that pays off later, because who knows what happens next round.
Do not mention the swap to production.
So as we get into the immunity challenge, we're going to bring in our spoilers, everyone, if you haven't watched the episode yet. We're going to bring in our boot from the episode. Someone that going in had, I won't say 0% chance, but I didn't think it was very likely this person was going to go home.
Same.
The episode, it's like I still didn't, and then it happened. We are joined by Megan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really, really sucks to see you go specifically. Before we get to what leads you to going home, we're gonna go into the immunity challenge.
Okay.
We're gonna talk. We're still gonna go in chronological order. Well, first off, what got you to apply for this specific game?
So I had only played one LRG before this, and it was Survivor DC. And there really wasn't anything else nearby. And then I think I was following LRG casting or whatever, because I had that itch. I was like, I played one, I want one more. So I happened to see this brand new game in New Jersey, and I'm like, I can drive there. That's totally doable. I don't know that I was ready to get on a plane to go play one of these games, but yeah, I'll drive to Jersey, no problem. And I waited super last minute to apply. This one over here will let me get that application in maybe a minute too late. And yeah, I got in, and I was stoked.
What were your expectations coming off of one LRG, coming into this one? Did you think, what were your thoughts going into it?
Yeah, so I'm a homebody through and through. So I mean, I'm terrified, right? These social situations are not my jam. But I've gotten hot and heavy into pickleball lately, and that's super social for me. So I'm yeah, I can totally do this. No problem. I'm good hanging out with a bunch of dudes. Like I grew up with brothers, like not a problem for me. If there were women there, like that was not going to be an issue for me either. So I felt like I was probably going to be okay. Going to probably be quiet in the beginning until I find my people. But like I thought I'd be okay for a while at least.
I thought you would too. I was rooting for you. But so now going into the actual game, going into the challenge, what were your thoughts? Like coming off of that last tribal, coming into this one, what's going through your head?
Yeah, this is not really shown, but I had been getting or feeling very close with Andrew. So I kind of felt like I had this number one Andrew. I had, I felt like I was well positioned in the tribe. I had Amir, Dave, and myself, which no one knew about. And I'm like, that's clutch because no one's going to clock that like for a good while. And I was getting closer to Nathan. I really wanted to work with John. I guess Alex probably was the person I was least connected to, but I still felt like if we lose this challenge, like I don't think it's coming on me. Like it was either going to go back on John or we'd figure out a name. So I really wasn't worried, which you can never really not be worried, but I felt comfortable. You can't do that either. I felt good though.
Well, with this challenge, so now with the context of knowing that the swap was supposed to happen here, y'all, I'm assuming y'all didn't have to call an audible on this. Like the challenge is always going to be this challenge.
The game was gonna stay the same. The only thing is they would have swapped, but like it would have been the same amount of numbers. Like we built it where it was us not doing the swap wasn't gonna hurt the game.
Okay, so going off of that, Santi, I'll go to you next. This challenge is a lot. It's simple, but it's a lot as far as hey. This is everything. How do you think you would have done it? And what did you think of how it went down?
Oh, well, not to brag, but I just did a challenge very similar to this in Legacy Trials, and my tribe won. But it's a fucking hard challenge. We had 5 people. So this person saw the image, and then it had to get to this person. And we were running across like 3 times the field that you guys had. That stuff is hard. And then so what we did is we coordinated everything. So it was A1, B1, C1, and then, that's how we did it. I would have fucked up the orientations like Amir did because I didn't even think that would have been a qualifier. So I don't know. I probably would have lost this one with my tribe.
Megan, as y'all are doing this, as tribe as a collective is doing this, what's going through your head?
I felt very confident in the information I was receiving and how I was able to give it to the next person. I'm a very visual person. Like I thought I was doing very well. None of us, I don't think any of us paid any attention to the orientation. Like when the information was given to me, nothing was said about orientation. I certainly wasn't like doing anything with that either. Dave, I think, was the one giving information to Andrew, who was in my same position. And I remember things being very confusing going to Andrew. Like it wasn't clear, but like I was getting clear information, I felt. So I thought at least half of our board was going to be perfect. So I was shocked at the results. Shocked.
And Will, as the person in production here, it's a blowout.
I would say because if you look at the challenge, John and Amir left the space blank. You always guess. You never leave a space. Like, that's a free space. You knew there was no way you could get a perfect score. Even if you didn't know what it was, you throw a tile, there's a 10% chance you get it right. Like when they said, okay, we're done, I'm like, he didn't put a tile. Like, what is this? I was gagged. And it's funny, but it's all about listening to instructions because let me tell you, and Megan can attest, I run a tight ship. So like if I'm explaining and I see people talking, I go, I'm not saying it again, and I don't want to hear nothing from you when you don't know what the hell's going on. And I keep talking.
10-second penalties.
But that's why.
Handed out in that one game.
Right. Because again, I'm not going to repeat myself, but again, it comes to listening, because I literally said, you have to replicate the tiles. So when I say the word replicate, if the tile is like this, that is not replicating it, because the tile looks like this. You know what I mean? But that's why listening to challenge, I'm not just saying it just because I wanted to look cute on camera with the best haircut I ever had in my life. But, everything was intentional,
And I guess going
off of that challenge went so long. Again, editing. I mean, I think we let them run 25 minutes, and then we were like, all right. And then we called it 5. Like, we're putting 5 on the clock, and then we're calling it a day. So, like, they were out there for a while. Like, we gave them a full half hour.
Because you didn't have Santi out there. Yeah, you didn't have Santi out there, who apparently killed.
We were 45 minutes. We were 45 minutes in, and because of that challenge, we had a medevac on my tribe. Even though we won, we had a medevac. Like, it was that.
Damn.
It was hard. So
here I'm trying to bust balls.
Like, I told my husband, I was like, "Oh my god, my PTSD is kicking in from this one." Because,
all right. So moving on from the triggering challenge, we go to and I would say the bulk of the episode is focused on the strategic part of everything.
Well, let's just talk about the summit real quick.
Well, no, yeah. Hold on, I'm getting there. We get to we get to after the challenge. Purple wins, and in my notes I have purple wins, and shit's about to go down, like word for word. That's it. And at the time, I didn't know who was going to the summit, and I think that the people that go to the summit, like I said earlier, it's the summit is very by the numbers. I feel like here, Santi. Well, Santi, before we go to Megan, what were your thoughts on the summit as a twist, and what were you hoping to potentially get out of it, as the game progressed?
Yeah, I mean, cool twist. Like, I'm down for like just different things. That we didn't have a summit type twist in the game that I played previously, I don't think, or I didn't go on one. But so it was kind of cool, and I was stoked to go on one, like whatever. But I was hoping to get the advantage. But I think when you're in the moment, like, and I haven't handled a situation like that, like, it was just tough to figure out, like, how do I negotiate in a good way? Because I'm not like a negotiator. So that was kind of tough. But I think after mine, I'm like, I was hoping we'd get information. But all that information wasn't always shared with everyone on the tribe.
Santi, what did you think about our summit duo that we had this episode? And how do you think they went about eventually giving one person the block of vote? Spoilers.
So I know Troy, he's a friend, and I've played with Andrew. Andrew has a way of selling you bullshit that is just sounds convincing. Because in the game I played with Andrew, like, I knew he was not 100% with me, but I was okay with him being 50% with me because at least I knew he had partially my back. And so the way Andrew was selling it to Troy was not very believable, but Troy did not put up, like, I don't think Troy didn't want the advantage, I think. So he was just soaking up the information that Andrew was providing. But Andrew's approach to it was like, this is probably not the best idea for me, but I'm just going to let Andrew have it at this point. And which is probably what I've done as well. I've been like, yeah, here, Andrew, you can go take it. We'll use it together later, I'm sure.
I have a question for Megan, actually. Because, with this, as you saw, we kind of flipped the script on the summit where the tribes aren't talking to themselves. The tribes are having to pick for the other one. And obviously, Troy got picked from the green team, and they said, like, that was kind of Dave's pushing. So I wasn't part of that conversation in green. Was Dave really strong arming, like, it's Troy and no one wanted to, like, fight him on it?
So from what I remember, like myself, Imir, and I feel like one other John did John go on the summit? There were two or three of us that couldn't be picked.
Right.
So I felt like when that was announced, I wasn't really in that conversation of like who's picking on the other tribe. So I don't remember who really pushed that. Was it Dave or not? I don't remember that. I don't feel like I really had a say in that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I didn't know any of these people before coming in. A lot of these people like knew other people. I didn't know anyone, so I don't even know that I would have really caught on that maybe there was a relationship there or something.
And we'll talk about someone that knew everyone in every game these people have played in a second. But inevitably, Andrew gets the block a vote. And he's sitting there contemplating, oh, how do I go about telling people this? I can't say that it's because he has to like outwardly say that he is going to block someone's vote. It is a fun little nugget that we get to sit here and watch him think about how he's going to play it as he goes back to camp. Once again, Santi, how would you play that? just as if you're a generic LRGer. You're not you. You're a generic
No. Because like block a vote is one of those advantages where I'm like, I don't want this. Like, no. Because you can't really do anything with the block a vote. Yes, you can block somebody else's vote, but at this point in the game where there's 6 people on the tribe now?
Yes.
It's kind of useless, especially in the position that Andrew's in. He's not in a numbers disadvantage, not in the bottom of the tribe. Like, it's not going to be useful for like 2 or 3 rounds, and it's just going to put a mark on his head like it did to John, like it did to Gibble, and how Amir's getting away with it. Like, so I wouldn't want it. I would be.
So wait, I have a question because this happened at the summit when Steven got the extra vote and he was like, "Oh, this is awful." And you hear me say, "If you don't want it, you can leave it." Would you have left it?
No, girl, because that's still bargaining something. That is still a bargaining chip. It doesn't. I don't find a benefit in blocking a vote unless I know it's tight, or we're at a 2-3 or something can flip. But at this point, I'm like, it's just there for a target.
I mean, and I'm jumping ahead here, but the storylines this season paid off beautifully because we talk about at Tribal, and Jack mentions it, ammunition against the other tribe. And like, they were like, at that point, because Amir played it well, they're like, it's sounding like it's 2-2 advantage wise. And like, what does this ammunition look like? And how does this gonna work for everyone moving forward? And that was a storyline that we didn't expect to kind of see, where it was like everyone's holding it close to the chest, but also kind of playing it for the most part like, hey, we all have this. And I think that was also part of the reason why we did cancel the swap, because we kind of started to see this storyline form of very green versus purple, and I want to use this for green. And I was like, I like this storyline better than to just throw a swap just because we can. Right? The game dictates what you do. And they felt like it would have been a disservice to where the game was going to just be like, we're just want to do a swap. Just why? Just because we can, You
were playing along with the players. Y'all
had and then I think ultimately, I can't say much. Where it ends up, lovely. That's all I'll say.
Like, I'll just say, like, I don't think the game was going to stay green versus purple. You have way too many chaotic gamer players in there that are chomping at the bit to screw each other over.
Yes.
And like,
yes.
I think the benefit of delaying the swap is like, it makes them more hungry in a sense of like, when can I get this person over? So I'm excited for a swap. I'm excited to fucking just to merge everybody and watch the chaos happen that way.
Nathan has a confession where they're saying, I'm watching this other tribe do this. And I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do this. And
And that was the other storyline, is because everyone was like, let me get to swap and I'm going to start playing. And I was like, you got to start playing now. You can't wait for the swap to start playing.
Well, and so the exact opposite, and this is, I appreciated Andrew saying this, and I know that like everyone has their different ways that they like to play, and like on the real show and in LRGs and orgs, we've all seen different types of people win the game. One of my beliefs is it's social versus strategic. Don't do crazy shit just because you can do crazy shit. And Andrew says, I don't mind boring because it's not me. It's like, yeah, I don't mind boring, and I'm Andrew as well. But I don't mind boring when it's not me because, yeah, it's pre-merge and it's pre-swap. Why would I do something that could potentially screw me over 2 rounds later when it's a swap or when it's merge or whatever, when I could just stay the course right now, be everyone's best friend so that everyone trusts me a little bit more later in the game? And I understand that some people feel like they have to be chaotic or have to be playing 100% like crazy from beginning to end. In reality, like TV show wise, there's only been one person to ever actually win the game like that. Most people pace themselves because you have to. Now, in an LRG, it's different because I think Nathan brings it up. Somebody brings it up. Maybe it's John. It is only 2 days. It's 2 days, so like you have to basically do a speed run of everything. But I do think that there is still space there to like pace yourself to like, even if you make a crazy move one round, to just kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up here and let somebody else do something here and hope for the best. But I'm gonna get into a certain chaos merchant in a second. But Megan, I want to quickly ask you, what is your mentality now that you've played 2 and maybe you've played more? I don't know since then. What is your mentality when it comes to these games? How do you like to, I've watched your pregame interview, but like now that you've done a couple, what's kind of your mentality with everything?
Yeah, I have learned that. So I think I can get so stuck in like, okay, the first alliance I make is like the alliance and I've got to stick with it. And like, that's my people for the good or for bad, whatever. But it's like, no, because things can change, things ebb and flow. Like if I'm feeling stronger about this other group of people or this other person or whatever, I need to like jump ship and go to that person. Otherwise, then I can't do the things that I want to do. And I think that was my biggest downfall, is sticking with the first alliance I made and not even really being open to doing anything else, even though I was still like talking nice with a lot of these people. So that is kind of the biggest takeaway that I took from this, is like, I can pivot, like, and you have to pivot, you have to adjust. Especially when you're stranded with a bunch of dudes, like you have to adjust.
Yeah. So the strategizing part is kind of mixed purple green. Like we get a lot of confessionals from both. And on purple, we're going to talk about purple for a second. It seems like one of the storylines is, hey, everyone knows that John V is like this big villain in the grand scheme of like all of LRGs, but we feel pretty good with him here. And the person that we don't feel good with because we feel like he's a chaos merchant, feel like they're doing too much, and we feel like is Gibble. It's the Gibble of it all.
Please make that
the Gibble of it all. We talked about this pretty much every week. We talked about it during the preseason, where like this person did. As a coach, I appreciate it. He did everyone's games, everyone's placements, who everyone worked with. I know all of this so that you can't get anything past Gibble here. Then we get the summit in episode 1, I believe, and everything, the fallout from that. Megan, we're going to go with you, and then we're going to go Santi Will as the person that's working from the other side of the camera there. What were your thoughts on Gibble at this point in the season? Don't spoil anything past this. What were your thoughts on Gibble past here? And then we'll just go. We'll go in our square here.
Yeah, I didn't know Gibble. So there were a lot of a lot of people from my tribe, making small comments like, chaos, like watch out for that, like, and just us watching Gibble. And I think they had I guess their first time they had to strategize, it was kind of going all over the place, bouncing from group to group. And our tribe was very different in how we strategized. And I mean, it was like night and day. But it was just like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I need to like watch out if I get to a point where I'm playing with this person. But chaos was what I was getting from my tribe and from what I was seeing with him.
How do you think you would have fared if you were on purple with the more chaos people?
I wonder if I would have been like a guaranteed vote for a certain group of people. Like while there was chaos, I could have been like that calm that was like always the vote in the group, and then had that get me so far and then make the moves I needed to make. I wonder if that's where I would have fit in with that kind of crowd. I wonder.
So since we're kind of jumping into the strategy part, right? Did you, I mean, obviously iconic, she says the episode title.
Love it.
But did you really not feel that, like, you walking into that tribal, you had no idea? Or did someone try to whisper something, or like, cause I know everyone's names pretty much got thrown out, but
yeah. I had no clue it was me. I was so concerned of like, is it going to be Andrew or is it going to be John? Like, where is the group going to go? And I thought it was going to be split. And I really did not want to vote Andrew because I felt like he was my number one. And it really, I don't know that maybe I never said it or like do a confessional, but I'm like, I feel like this is my guy and I need him to stay with me. And I had already voted for John. So I'm like, let's just do it again. And I was, from what people were telling me, it seemed like people weren't sure which way, because they weren't telling me which way they were going, which I thought was odd, but I still never really thought it was me. And I just so badly wanted to know, like, which name is it? And like, I'll just make a decision from there.
That is a telltale sign right there where nobody can commit.
And then I get pulled for a confessional and I'm like, no, I need to talk to people. So I like do my confessional and I get back. And so our tribe had done this thing where after we strategized for like a short period of time, I feel like it was Amir who would say like, guys, it's really hot. Let's go sit in the shade under this tree. And then we'd all sit on the ground and strategizing would completely stop. And so that happened very shortly after I got back from that confessional. And once everyone's sitting down in the shade, like no one gets back up to talk. And I so badly needed to talk to more people. And that just didn't happen because that wasn't the culture of our tribe. So I was more so like, man, I'm about to lose my number one or John's going home again. But I did not think it was me.
I love that you said that, the culture of the tribe. And I said it in my intro speech. You guys are choosing the rules of this new society that you make. And it's funny that you mentioned Amir because I believe that thing was very intentional because I think Amir had a very good fingers on the pulse of the tribe. He knew that your name was out there. People were good. And then it's, hey, we're hot. Sit down. I can guarantee no one's going to flip it.
Yeah, it's like once the vote was the way that he had planned, it's like, let's stop the talking. Like, hey, guys, it's really hot. Let's go sit over here. I mean, every single vote for the three that I was there for, that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, I actually do have some tea. So I did reach out to Nathan and Amir just to kind of get like a better idea of the vote. So when I reached out to Amir and I was like, so how did this land on Megan? Right. And he said, he goes, one of his quote, I wanted to prove that I could do whatever I wanted to in this game. I could have gotten John S out, but I wanted to really push his position to see, am I really in as good a spot as I am? And that was his, and your vote was his way to show, oh, I can flip this. I got people on my side and I can move this wherever the hell I want. And then that helps, now he knows going to next round, he goes, oh, I'm good. Like, and so unfortunately you were the victim of that. And then when I asked him, I was like, right, but like you could have voted Dave, you could have, all these people. And he goes, right, but he goes, from seeing Purple and seeing how they handled it and he goes, and I guess he didn't realize how close like Troy and Dave were. He was like, yeah, we could have got it Dave out. It'd been easy. But I couldn't see Dave infiltrating Purple as good as Megan would have. She goes, and he said, I could have seen Megan flipping and getting in such a good position with both sides that she had to go. And Nathan echoed that sentiment. He basically said, give Ymir most of the credit. That's what Nathan said. And he said what he did was make sure, like, you get the confessional of John saying, well, Megan threw my name out. Nathan's the one that told John that. There's a confessional of you saying, I think I heard Ymir might be throwing my name out. That was Nathan that told you that. So then Nathan becomes this, I'm just going to start And then Nathan told me that, yes, they could have gotten Dave out, but he said that Megan, had way more win equity. And I'm not trying to shit on Dave. I love Dave. But he said, I felt like Megan had more win equity in a merge, very likable. I feel like again, and you said it even when you said, you can hang out with the dudes and bro out. You can get with the girly bops. You can do it all. And they clocked you early, gal. And you were playing with some sharks. And they said, if this girl gets any further, she's dangerous. And I do believe that and then seeing you play competitive events and seeing how far you got,
yeah,
they're not wrong. Yeah. So I just wanted to share those tidbits.
Still don't like it. I still don't like it.
What don't you like, Santi? Tell us the take.
It's misogynistic. I'm sorry. There were 3 women in the game. 3. 1, 2, 3. And you vote out one of them? Because, I'm sorry, no, because Megan's going to flip. Okay, Megan's going to join the other girls. Oh, well, we don't have any idea that that's going to happen. There's no proof of that. Yes, she has win equity because she's a strong player, not because she's in a minority group of 3 women. I don't know. I did not like that vote, and I understand the strategic portion of it, but I think when you strategize like that, you can also create a new target somewhere else and be like, we can deal with Megan later. Let's keep her here. Let's take somebody else off the board like Dave or Alex, or I don't think Amir, Nathan, or Andrew were going anywhere. I think if they were looking at anybody else other than Megan, it would have been Alex or Dave.
I think when they were worried about flipping, I think they were, because again, everyone kept thinking swap. I think they looked at Megan, if Megan goes to a swap and gets relationships on the other side, we're screwed. I don't think they thought that Dave could get those relationships that she could. I think that's how I was understanding it. But I think what you're saying also does have some validity.
I don't think anybody on the tribe is misogynistic. I just think optics wise, it's just frustrating because when I play, if there's a minority group of women and it's not even male based, I will not be voting a woman out for a very long time in the game. Then it has to be that's where we're at in the point in the game. But that's just how I play.
And I mean that's normally my mentality with orgs LRGs. And I would say that to play devil's advocate, I felt like, once, like Santi said, I don't feel like anyone was bringing in any type. This was not one big microaggression thing, at all. Not even close. Devil's advocate, it does feel like, hey, we need to nip this in the bud now, because if we have Megan, I can't remember who was saying this during the preseason, but it's like, oh yeah, Megan feels like somebody that could make a run at this shit if she makes it far enough. She'll either get cut very early, or she's gonna sit at final 2, 3, make it final 5 or whatever. And that's how I personally perceive it. Now, like Santi, I kind of working like, hey, no POCs or non-males pre-merge if we can help it. But at a certain point, if you can help it, you got to get rid of someone that could jeopardize your game. And like I said, I'm doing devil's advocate here, but it is something that we have to think about. We have to put ourselves in the shoes of white males. All right, guys, relax. So we have to do like we have to because at the end of the day, it is a game, and we have to do what's best for us in this situation.
Yeah.
If we feel like, and Megan, you keep bringing this up, and you do have a confession when you're like your voting confessional, I believe, when you say, I don't want to vote Andrew. Andrew is my guy. Sorry, John. It's got John. Was John?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, John. Sorry, John. I don't think that it was anything other than people sticking to the folks that they had bonded with there. You know, I've been around this community long enough to know that it's a very small minority of people that, you know, have other thoughts, but like for the most part, all of us are like-minded individuals, and we're just out there playing games. Don't matter he, she, they, or other. It doesn't matter. We're just doing our thing. And I that's what I've really appreciated about this cast is I honestly because of, and this is not I know you don't, but because of the way the episodes have been spaced out, I forgot that women were in a very large minority here. I like in my head, it didn't just like it doesn't click that Ymir, I believe, is the only POC left. I don't know.
John's right there.
Well.
Who?
John's right there.
Oh yeah, John. Sorry, John. But that kind of stuff hasn't clicked with him because of the storylines. Well, you keep bringing up the storylines because of the storylines that have happened, because of the relationships that people have built. It hasn't really seemed. It hasn't seemed like it's very similar to how David versus Goliath, which came a couple seasons before the 50% BIPOC thing that seems to not exist anymore. Came in, and it like Natalie going after what was his name, Jeremy going after her. It never felt like, oh man, why are they going after each other? It just felt like these two people just don't like each other, and of course they're going to go after each other. All of that is to say, I as much as it sucked to see the outcome, everything made sense in context. Megan, watching the episode back, did a lot of stuff come to light? Like having conversations with people after season, whatever. Like, did everything make sense as it's being shown?
So when I was there in that moment, like in that round, I didn't feel like I was like doing so great where people were like, we got to get her out now. Like I really didn't see that I was being perceived that way. But like, so afterwards I'm like, wait a minute, I was the second person voted off of my tribe. The first person was injured. So I'm basically like the first real person voted out of my tribe. So like that didn't feel great, but like John, like, you know, got to stay in the game. So like, I wasn't really the first vote per se, but that's not like a great look. But I don't want to be kept in the game because I'm the only woman on my tribe. But like, I want to stay in the game a little longer. But like, I don't know. I guess I really thought that I had, you know, with my conversations that like I was a loyal number to the people that I had. And it's like, why not keep that a little longer? Because we might swap. Like that was the thing, is that we always were going to swap. And I wasn't necessarily thinking like, I'm going to hook up with those girls over there and like, we're going to run this game. But like, these other people were. I mean, Nathan even mentions it, but then says like, but I'm not putting stock in that. But were you? Maybe a little bit. But yeah, no, it's been cool talking with everyone afterwards. Like, it's a game. I get it. It's cool. I wonder how it would have turned out if one of the other women were solo on this tribe, and just how that would have played out. I wonder.
Yeah, and I will say, just so like for transparency purposes, and I might have said this in a previous podcast, I can't remember. Of the 3 women we had a very transparent conversations with them. So like when we were ready to offer Megan a spot, I told her straight up, I said, I can't reveal the exact number, but I'm letting you know women apps were extremely low. There's going to be like 5 or less women in this game.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that up front. And if that makes you uncomfortable and you don't want to play, I absolutely get it. No harm, no foul. And we told that to Bex and we told that to Brooke. So like, we didn't say that to any of the dudes, but like all going in, all 3 women knew like that they were facing the uphill battle, and still took it on, which I think is badass. I just want to say thank you for, even with all that, you still took a chance on us. So I really do appreciate you.
Thank you. It was awesome. I mean, when you told me that, I immediately was like, I'm in. Like, I'm no problem. Like, so I was ready for it, and I did not picture that I'd be the only person on my tribe. But again, that's why my alliance with Dave and Amir I thought was so freaking perfect. But I guess if someone in that trio is threatened by you, then it's not perfect. So like, I get that. But I thought I'm like, this is perfect. Like that's the perfect little trio. But yeah, it was fun. It was a blast. Thank you so much for letting me come play. It was awesome.
I love trio. I'm gonna steal that.
It just happened. So yeah,
it's mine now. I'm sorry.
There it is. Cool. You'll think of me.
Last word I'll say on this specific subject is if the other 2 women got next, then this entire cast is misogynistic pieces of shit. And all of that. And we'll move on.
We're kidding. No, we don't think that about anybody.
Yeah, I'm absolutely kidding. So we actually get to the actual tribal, which I feel like we've talked a lot about anyway. And I know Will asked you this already, so I'll direct the question to Santi. Just with the edit and hindsight, just kind of get rid of it for what are you expecting to happen based off of what we've seen the last 2 episodes, but specifically in here?
What do you mean?
What are you expecting to happen to see it tribal? Like just based off the confessionals that we've gotten, based off of what had just happened at the last tribal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Megan's going home. Like there was no sugarcoating that. It's just sad that was the consensus. It was very obvious. Like, I don't know. The telltale sign that it's me is when nobody will say a name. It is like clear as day of like, oh, okay. Well, if you're not going to say the name, then obviously I know it's me.
Yeah.
And that goes back to like me not having only played 1 game. It's like, I didn't know a lot of those little things. I thought people really couldn't decide between John and Andrew. So like, at least it wasn't me. It's just one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's obvious now looking back.
But I have a question for Will. So is there another message in the bottle?
You got to keep watching.
Okay. That was my question. Because when I saw Megan pick one, I was like, wait, that would be kind of the gag though if Megan got it too, when they had to get rid of 2 people back to back. I would have died.
I would have died too.
Then Megan, you burn the camp down.
There you go.
That was something I would do, but I've heard of other people doing things like that.
Right. Well, then we would have swapped, and I would have really like flipped, right?
Yeah.
Potentially swapped. We don't know.
Oh, I have a question, Meg, because we kind of saw it with the summit a little bit. How quickly was it determined that everyone was going to be like, we're not saying anything about what happened at, John got saved. You guys came back to camp, immediately sat down. Purple's like, what the hell? And they come up to you and like, what's going on? And they're like, and you guys were like, nothing. Like, how quickly was that decision made where you guys were going to cut him?
It was almost immediate, like that we did not want, and I don't know who like said this, but like we just collectively like didn't want the other tribe to know. And then we were taking turns like having one-on-ones with John to be like, dude, so sorry about that, whatever. And then at one point John's like, guys, we can't do that because they're going to see everyone coming up to me alone, like all taking turns. So we need to like go to like different groups because we all really, for whatever reason, we did not want the other tribe to know.
And then Andrew spills the beans the first chance he gets.
Yeah.
That is the underlying storyline of the episode is no one knows exactly what happens during Green's tribal. And it just kind of continues through like one, why is no one just saying, hey, this is what happened? But two, why are you guys so curious now? Like, and like we're not out there, so Santi, how would you deal with that if you're purple? If you're purple and you know, yeah. Once again, not trying to like out your game, but like you're here, so I have to.
No, you're fine, Coach. It's just it's interesting, and we've talked about this a little bit in the podcast of the social contracts that we come up with in these games, and the social contract, even though it was one world, was we're one team and they're the other team, and they are the enemy, and that is that. Because I think maybe it was Gibble talked about it, about the social contract, about like even if one person went to talk to the other tribe solo, then that's frowned upon. So I commend them for keeping their mouth quiet and not saying anything. That's what I would want to do in that situation. If that's what the social contract is. If the social contract is information is everywhere, then we're all having conversations and it's all out there. But that was not the game that this group decided to play.
We're not all out here playing the Colt Cumbie thing of, oh yeah, I didn't think I would even be name dropping Colt Cumbie in this, but here we are. All right, so we start to wrap up. We hear people's vote out confessionals. Did any of them stand out to you, Megan? Like hearing back why people voted the way they did. Did anything stand out?
Just the kind of the overall theme was that like it felt like each person was like, this is gonna get me to merge. But like unless merge happens the next round, then it doesn't. But I guess they just, and I don't know what happens after I go, but they all just thought like this was the thing that was gonna get me like to that merge spot. And then Imir said, gosh, what did it was something.
Oh, he said because it's a blindside and it's going to be a Megan roast.
Yes. And I was like, that in any other circumstance would have been like the episode title, but obviously like it couldn't be. So then you just use my quote. But yeah, that was funny, whatever. But yeah, everyone really felt like this was a huge thing that was going to get them to that next spot. That felt like everyone felt that way. And I'm over here worried about Andrew and John. I was in my own little world.
Santi, final thoughts on the episode.
I thought it was a great episode. I like I mentioned it earlier before we went live. I really enjoyed the confessionals and understanding the players' kind of thought process in this. Like that's my favorite part about watching any of these games is like, what are people thinking as they're playing this game, and where is their perspective at in the game, and is it an accurate perspective?
So I'm so glad you picked up on that, because that's something that we really cared about. So like we said this before we went live, like when we casted people for a lot of reasons, but there's a reason why Stranded, we do an application video, give us a minute, then we do a casting interview, and then we do a preseason interview. We interview our player. We get 3 versions of our players before they even step onto set. And that's very intentional because as you kind of saw, you know, where the yard is, there's a ton of traffic. It's cars all the time. I already knew we're not going to get great audio. And also, guess what I want in our game is I don't want 25 minutes of strategy talk of all bullshit, because I know it's a lie. Like that's not fun for me. Like, yes, maybe a 2-minute clip of misdirection, but I care about the players. And we casted people who knew how to tell a story, who knew how to talk about themselves, who all have different perspectives. And I was like, and I told my team, I said, listen, more focus on confessionals, because I can build a story from that. And I feel like that perspective that Santi just picked up on is more interesting, of having all my players get way more screen time with their thoughts and feelings versus whispers and bullshit in the yard. That's how we view it. So I'm glad you picked up on that. Thank you.
Of course.
Will, final thoughts on the episode?
Girl, she just talked for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was very,
I mean,
very tongue in cheek.
No, great episode. I mean, all of them are heartbreakers. I view all of my cast as like my children. Yeah, no, but this one, like, even on Prod, we were gagged. We did not like. Megan was not on any of our lists to go home pre-merge, on anybody's list.
Yeah.
But if I could just tease, I love a tease about next episode. It's another double. And that's all I'm saying.
Because last time you lied to us.
What'd I lie about?
You said it was a double and it wasn't.
Girl, bye. Both tribes will be going to tribal council. There we go.
There we go.
Well, Megan, thank you more than anyone else for taking the time to do this. I know, we've all been on the side of being voted out of these games. I'm glad that you have played another game since then. I found out here. I'm glad you played another game since then. I hope that you continue, unless you're retired. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Santi, Will, as always, it's great to catch up with you all.
I gotta do some shout outs.
Yeah, you got a shout out. Yeah, go ahead.
So I would like to give a shout out and a recommendation to LRG_casting on Instagram. If you are a non-male identifying player, please apply to these games. We need more of you to play. And if you're bored tomorrow, please go to my Instagram and watch my final episode of the LRG I hosted, Reindeer Games ATX, which is actually kind of thanks to Will, because I talked to Will about this months ago. And he's the one who told me to use iMovie in a Dream. And 6 episodes later, I created this bullshit show that's actually kind of funny. So thank you, Will.
No problem.
That was all. Those are my 2 shout outs, was Instagram.
Any more shout outs, y'all?
Megan, you have any games in the pipeline this year?
That you can tell people.
You'll have to stay tuned.
Exactly.
Yes, queen.
There you go.
Well, Will is recording season 2 of Stranded in 10 days. So look forward to that next year. I'm really excited to see how this season turns out so that we can transition to the next one. Thank you all for bearing with us. It's been great to watch and talk about this season. I'm really looking forward to another boot episode, another double boot episode. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to go follow Live Reality Games or casting on Instagram. Follow Stranded and on all the things. And yeah, we will see you guys next time.
Thank you so much.